Welcome back to the Power of Saying Less, and if you've been following since the beginning, welcome to part 2 of this journey. Over the past 7 chapters, we've built a strong foundation together. Let's quickly recap where we've been. In Chapter 1, we talked about the art of intentional speech, how powerful communication starts with purpose. In Chapter 2, we uncovered why we say too much and the hidden forces that drive over-talking. Chapter 3 revealed the power of silence and how not speaking can often say the most. Then in Chapter 4, we learned how to create maximum impact with minimal words. Chapter 5 drilled down into clarity over quantity, why a simple message is a powerful one. In Chapter 6, we explored listening as a superpower and how being present earns you influence. And most recently in Chapter 7, we dove into verbal discipline, training your mind and mouth to work together with control and confidence. Now, if that first part was about communication technique, part 2 is about what's happening beneath the surface. The mindset, the psychology, the internal programming that shapes what, how, and why we speak. And in this video, we're kicking off part 2 with something that might surprise you. Let's get into Chapter 8, the psychology behind fewer words. Section 1. Why we talk more than we need to. Let's start with a simple truth. We know saying less is powerful. We know clarity is better than clutter. We know silence can speak volumes. So, why don't we do it? Why do we over-explain, overshare, and overspeak? The answer lies in psychology. Because our patterns of speech aren't just habits. They're emotional responses, survival instincts, and conditioned behaviors. Let's break this down. Psychological reason number 1, fear of being misunderstood. At the core of over-talking is often a fear. What if they don't get what I really mean? So we repeat ourselves. We explain again? We add backup stories and unnecessary details. But what we're really saying is, I need you to fully understand me so I feel safe. It's a natural human need to be seen, heard, and understood. But when that need runs unchecked, we smother our message instead of strengthening it. Psychological reason number 2, desire for control. Overspeaking can also come from a need to control how others see us. So we try to sound smart, use too many words to manage impressions, talk fast to avoid feedback, use fancy jargon to seem credible. But here's the twist. The more you try to control perception with more words, the more people doubt your confidence. True control comes from restraint, not excess. Psychological reason number 3, emotional leakage. Sometimes we talk too much because we're emotionally overwhelmed. Stress, anxiety, insecurity, excitement, nervous energy. All of it comes out in words. And often, way too many of them. If you've ever said, I don't even know why I said all that, that's emotional leakage in action. The mouth gets ahead of the mind. And the result, regret, ramble, repetition. Emotional awareness is the antidote. Psychological reason number 4, need for validation. Here's a tough one. We often speak more when we're looking for approval. Do you agree? Right. You know what I mean. Does that make sense? That constant need for reassurance shows up as verbal clutter. When we don't trust our own voice, we talk around our point, instead of owning it. Validation-seeking language doesn't make us look thoughtful. It makes us look uncertain. Confidence, on the other hand, uses fewer words. Section 2. How language is shaped by upbringing and culture. Beyond psychology, our upbringing and cultural programming also play a huge role. Some people were raised in environments where you had to speak fast to be heard. You had to talk constantly to avoid awkward silence. You had to explain everything to avoid being misunderstood. Speaking less was seen as weakness or even disrespect. These deep patterns shape how we show up in every conversation. And until we become aware of them, they keep running the show. Verbal clarity starts with inner clarity. Section 3. How to rewire your communication psychology. So how do we actually change these patterns? It starts with awareness, then rewiring. Here's how. Step 1. Pay attention to your triggers. Notice when you tend to talk more than you need. Is it when you're nervous? When someone questions you? When there's silence? Get curious, not judgmental. Just observe. Step 2. Challenge your story. Ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I say less? Do I really believe more words equals more value? What am I trying to protect myself from? Awareness changes the narrative, and the narrative changes your behavior. Step 3. Practice micro-restraints. You don't have to become a communication monk overnight. Start small. 1 less sentence. 1 pause before answering. 1 message edited before hitting send. 1 meeting where you speak only when needed. Small moments build massive clarity over time. Section 4. The identity shift of the concise speaker. Let's end this chapter on a deeper note. Becoming someone who speaks with precision, clarity, and presence isn't just about technique. It's about identity. It's about seeing yourself as someone who doesn't need to prove anything, doesn't seek attention through over-explaining, trusts their words enough to let them breathe, doesn't fear silence, isn't afraid to let less say more. It's not just what you say. It's who you are while you're saying it. Here's the real takeaway. If you want to say less and have it mean more, you have to understand what's been driving your voice up until now. Because once you know why you overtalk, you can stop reacting and start communicating. It's not about being less expressive. It's about being more intentional. That's the shift. That's the work. And that's the power of fewer words. If this chapter sparked something in you, hit that subscribe button. Because in Chapter 9, we're talking about a huge unlock in communication. Speaking with confidence, not volume. You don't need to raise your voice to raise your impact. You just need to believe your words are worth hearing. Here, we explore the often misunderstood difference between speaking loudly and speaking confidently, and how real power doesn't come from volume but from certainty. Here's a myth we need to break right now. Louder doesn't mean stronger. Longer doesn't mean smarter. And faster doesn't mean better. Confidence in communication isn't about volume. It's about presence. You don't need to raise your voice to raise your value. You don't need to dominate the room to own the space. You don't need to talk more to prove your point. In this chapter, we're exploring the difference between loudness and real, grounded confidence, and how to speak with power even when you barely raise your voice. Let's get into it. Section 1. Loud is easy, confidence is earned. Let's be honest. Anyone can be loud. Anyone can talk over others. Anyone can fill a room with words. But that doesn't mean people are listening. Real confidence isn't noisy. It's quiet, calm, measured. It's when someone walks into the room and doesn't need to prove themselves. They speak clearly, intentionally. And when they stop talking, everyone remembers what they said. That's the difference between confidence and volume. Section 2. What real confidence sounds like. So, what does confident communication actually sound like? Let's break it down. 1. Steady pace. Confident speakers don't rush. They speak slowly and deliberately because they trust what they're saying. They don't race the silence. They let their words breathe. 2. Intentional pauses. They use silence to emphasize, not to panic. They let a point land before they move on. This matters. Pause. Because people are watching how we lead in moments like this. That pause, that's power. 3. Strong eye contact when applicable. They look people in the eye. Not with arrogance, but with calm certainty. Eye contact without tension says, I'm here. I believe in what I'm saying. I don't need your approval, I'm offering clarity. 4. Less explaining, more owning. Confident people don't over-explain. They don't chase validation. They don't water down their message with disclaimers like, I could be wrong, but. This might sound stupid, but. I'm not really sure, but. They just say it. Here's my take. This is what I believe. Here's what I recommend. Clean, clear, done. Section 3. Why we mistake loudness for power. Let's talk about why we often confuse loud equals strong. It starts early. Maybe you grew up in a home, culture, or environment where the loudest person got the most attention. Speaking quietly meant you didn't matter. Silence was seen as weakness. Disagreeing quietly wasn't allowed. So we learned. If I want to be heard, I need to be loud. But here's what we weren't taught. Volume doesn't equal value. In fact, in many high-trust environments, louder speakers are seen as less confident, not more. Because true power isn't in how hard you push your words. It's in how deeply you believe them. Section 4. Internal confidence equals external calm. Here's a game-changing shift. The most confident speakers are calm, not chaotic. They don't talk to be right. They don't talk to win. They talk to connect, to contribute, to lead. Why? Because their confidence doesn't come from approval, it comes from alignment. They believe what they're saying. They're okay if others disagree. And they know silence doesn't threaten them, it supports them. That inner stability creates outer presence. Section 5. How to build confident communication without raising your voice. Let's get practical. Here are 5 ways to start building real communication confidence today. No shouting necessary. Tip number 1. Lower your volume intentionally. Start speaking slightly quieter than you normally would. Why? It forces people to lean in. It shows calm authority. And it teaches you that you don't need to be loud to be heard. Tip number 2. Speak last in group settings. Instead of rushing to share your thoughts, first wait. Listen. Process. Then contribute with something thoughtful. This signals confidence and maturity. You're not speaking to be noticed, you're speaking because you have something valuable to add. Tip number 3. Drop the disclaimers. Eliminate weak openings like, "I'm probably wrong, but this might not make sense." Just throwing this out there. Start strong. Here's my thought. One thing we could consider is, from my experience, I've seen that. You don't need to soften your presence. You need to trust your perspective. Tip number 4. Practice short and strong sentences. Instead of explaining things in 5 sentences, say it in 1. Then pause. Examples. I believe this is the right direction. We should delay the launch. This isn't working. The silence afterward isn't awkward. It's what makes your words resonate. Tip number 5. Record yourself speaking. This one is big. Film yourself explaining something, then watch it back. Are you talking fast? Are you using filler words? Are you shrinking your ideas with soft language? Practice replacing nervous habits with steady, confident delivery. Watch yourself become more grounded each time. Section 6. Confidence is a skill, not a personality type. Let's end with this truth. Confidence is not about being extroverted, loud, or charismatic. It's about being centered, present, unshakable. You don't have to force it. You don't have to fake it. You just have to develop it through repetition, reflection, and restraint. Confidence isn't how you sound. It's how you show up. You don't have to yell to be powerful. You don't have to talk a lot to be respected. You don't have to dominate the room to lead it. Confidence is quiet. And your presence, when grounded in clarity, will always speak louder than your voice ever could. So lower the volume. Raise the clarity. Speak from within. In the next chapter, we're unlocking a whole new layer of communication, nonverbal communication. How your body, tone, and energy are sending messages even when your mouth is silent. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Chapter 10. Mastering Nonverbal Communication. Did you know that most of your communication has nothing to do with your words? Research suggests that up to 93% of communication is nonverbal. A combination of your body language, tone, facial expressions, energy, and eye contact. So even when your mouth is quiet, you're still saying something. Here's the question. Are you saying what you think you're saying? In this chapter, we're diving into nonverbal communication, how it works, why it matters, and how to master the silent signals that speak louder than words. Let's get into it. Section 1. Why nonverbal communication is everything. Let's start with the basics. We live in a world that prioritizes words, what to say, how to say it, when to say it. But the truth is, your body speaks before your voice ever does. And people are picking up on your signals whether you realize it or not. Think about it. You can tell when someone's nervous before they say a word. You can sense confidence, energy, or discomfort the moment someone walks in. You've read a room without hearing a single sentence. That's the power of nonverbal cues, and they're speaking for you 24/7. So, if your words say one thing, but your body says another, people will believe the body every time. Section 2. The 5 pillars of nonverbal communication. Let's break down the 5 main pillars of nonverbal communication and how to master each one. Pillar 1. Posture. Your posture sends an instant message about your confidence, presence, and authority. Slouched shoulders equals insecurity or disengagement. Upright posture equals grounded presence. Arms crossed equals closed off. Open stance equals confident and approachable. Fixing your posture doesn't just change how others see you. It actually changes how you feel, increasing internal confidence. Start practicing presence from the spine up. Pillar 2. Facial expressions. Your face tells a story even when you're silent. Raised eyebrows, surprise, skepticism. Tight jaw, stress or discomfort. Genuine smile, safety, warmth, connection. Blank stare, disinterest or disconnection. Practice matching your expression to your intent. And remember, people don't just listen with their ears. They read your eyes, your brows, your mouth, your micro-expressions. A neutral face can feel cold. An engaged face invites connection. Pillar 3. Eye contact. Eye contact is one of the fastest ways to communicate presence, honesty, and connection. Too little eye contact. You seem unsure, distracted, or even dishonest. Too much. You might come off as intense or aggressive. The sweet spot? Steady, natural, and purposeful. Look at the person, look away occasionally to reset, then return. It should feel like a conversation, not a stare down. Pillar 4. Gestures. Your hands can either support your message or distract from it. Purposeful gestures equals emphasis and clarity. Random flailing equals distraction or nervousness. Hidden hands equals perceived lack of trustworthiness. Open palms equals openness and honesty. Don't overthink your gestures. Just make sure they're intentional, not frantic. Pro tip: film yourself speaking, watch your hands, adjust accordingly. Pillar 5. Tone and pace. Yes, technically this is verbal, but it's deeply nonverbal and feel. Your tone and pace tell people how confident you are, how emotionally regulated you are, whether they should trust or tune out. A calm, measured tone commands attention. A frantic or high-pitched tone signals anxiety. Rushed speech sounds like you don't believe your own words. Slow down, breathe, let your tone match your message. Section 3. The power of stillness. One of the most powerful forms of nonverbal communication. Stillness. You don't need to constantly gesture, shift, fidget, or fill the space with movement. Stillness creates presence, gravity, focus, authority. When you stand still and grounded, people sense control. And that silence even in your body makes your words land harder. 2. Use mirrors for micro-practice. When you rehearse a speech or idea, do it in front of a mirror. Watch your posture. Test your gestures. Try different expressions. Adjust your tone to match your face. This builds muscle memory. 3. Study great communicators. Watch TED Talks, leaders, teachers, spiritual guides, politicians. Mute the audio. Study the body language. What signals are they sending even when they're silent? Then, replicate the ones that feel natural to you. Words matter, but they're only part of the conversation. Your body is always speaking. The question is, are you aware of what it's saying? If you want to speak with more impact, start by aligning your message with your movement, your tone, your presence, your pause. Because people might forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. If this chapter helped you unlock the silent side of communication, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Next, we're shifting gears into everyday conversation. From small talk to smart talk, how to stop wasting words and start connecting with people in real, intentional ways. Chapter 11, From Small Talk to Smart Talk. This one is all about turning everyday small talk into smart talk, the kind of conversation that actually builds trust, connection, and influence. Let's be real for a second. How many times have you had a conversation like this? Hey, how's it going? Good, you? Good. Awkward silence. We've all been there. Polite, predictable, pointless. That's small talk. But what if you could turn those moments into something meaningful? What if every casual interaction became an opportunity to connect, to understand, to actually say something that matters? That's what this chapter is all about. Turning small talk into smart talk. Let's get into it. Section 1. What is small talk and why it feels so empty? Small talk is the surface-level stuff. How's the weather? Crazy traffic today, huh? Can't believe it's already Friday. It's meant to break the ice, and yes, it has a purpose. But here's the problem. Most people stay stuck there. We stay in autopilot mode. We recycle the same safe topics. We avoid real opinions, real stories, and real curiosity. The result? Exchanges that feel forgettable. But you're not forgettable. So your conversations shouldn't be either. Section 2. The real purpose of smart talk. Smart talk isn't about being deep all the time. It's not about turning every coffee chat into a TED Talk. It's about being present in your conversations, being curious about the other person, and choosing words that actually move the connection forward. Smart talk builds trust, respect, connection, influence. Whether you're networking, dating, leading, or making new friends, people remember how they felt in your presence. Smart conversation creates those moments. Section 3. Why people avoid going deeper. So, why do we stick to small talk? 1. Fear of awkwardness. We think, what if it gets weird? So we keep it safe and shallow. But here's the truth. People crave real conversation. They're just waiting for someone to go first. 2. Habit. We've been taught to keep things light, especially in professional settings. So we never challenge the script. But growth comes when we step off script. 3. Lack of intention. We enter conversations with no goal beyond politeness. So we get what we expect, nothing meaningful. When you enter a conversation with curiosity, everything shifts. Section 4. How to transition from small talk to smart talk. Now let's get tactical. Here's how to make your conversations more intentional, memorable, and impactful. Tip number 1. Ask better questions. Ditch the autopilot stuff. Upgrade your curiosity. Instead of, how's it going? Try, what's been the highlight of your week? Working on anything exciting right now? What's something you're looking forward to? These questions go one level deeper without being invasive, and they spark way more interesting answers. Tip number 2. Share something real but small. People open up when you go first. You don't have to reveal your deepest secrets, just offer something a little more human. Instead of saying, I'm fine, say, honestly, it's been a busy week, but I'm excited about this project I'm working on. A little honesty creates a lot of permission. Tip number 3. Use tell me more. When someone shares something, don't just move on. Say, tell me more about that? How did that feel? What happened next? These simple phrases show you're actually listening and you care. That's rare. And it's powerful. Tip number 4. Look for shared energy. Great conversations are built on mutual interest. If someone lights up about something, lean in. Even if it's not your thing, your curiosity will connect you. Because people don't just want to be understood. They want to be seen in their enthusiasm. That's what makes you unforgettable. Tip number 5. Know when to exit gracefully. Smart talk also means knowing when the moment's passed. If the energy dips, don't force it. Use respectful closers like, "Really great talking with you. Thanks for sharing that, I loved hearing it. Let's catch up again soon." Leave people feeling heard, not drained. Section 5. Smart talk in professional settings. Let's talk about how this works in the workplace. Smart talk in a meeting, a Zoom call, or a hallway moment isn't about being overly emotional. It's about being intentional. Try these. What's the real challenge you're seeing on your team? What would success look like for you in this project? If you could wave a magic wand and fix one thing, what would it be? These kinds of questions create clarity. They show leadership. They deepen trust fast. Small talk fills time. Smart talk moves things forward. Section 6. The energy of smart talk. Let's zoom out. This isn't just about tactics, it's about energy. Smart talk has a different vibe. It says, "I'm present. I'm not afraid of connection. I'm genuinely curious. I value this moment." You don't need to be a genius. You don't need a script. You just need to be real. When your words reflect intention, people feel it and respond to it. Here's the bottom line. Don't settle for surface level. Don't let your words be forgettable. Whether it's a stranger, a colleague, or someone you love. Every conversation is a chance to connect more deeply, more meaningfully, more intentionally. You don't need more words. You just need better ones. That's how you turn small talk into smart talk. In the next chapter, we're talking about one of the most underrated speaking tools of all time, the strategic pause. Why knowing when to speak is just as important as knowing what to say. Chapter 12. The Strategic Pause, Mastering Timing in Speech. This chapter dives deep into one of the most powerful and underused communication tools. Let me ask you something. What's the most powerful part of a song? It's not always the melody. Not the lyrics. Not even the beat. It's the pause. The rest between the notes. The silence that gives everything else meaning. Great communication works the same way. Today, we're talking about one of the most overlooked but incredibly powerful speaking tools you already have. The strategic pause. Let's get into it. Section 1. What is a strategic pause? A strategic pause is a deliberate moment of silence in your communication. It can last half a second. It can last 2. But what it does in that space is everything. A pause gives your message room to breathe. It creates rhythm. It emphasizes your point. And it gives your audience time to absorb what you're saying. It's not awkward. It's intentional. It's power. It's presence. Section 2. Why we avoid pausing. Most people are afraid of silence. We think silence means we don't know what to say. We're losing control. We're being judged. We're making others uncomfortable. So, what do we do instead? We ramble. Use filler words. Talk faster. Repeat ourselves. Over-explain. But in doing so, we lose impact. Because here's the truth. When you fill every second with sound, your words become noise. But when you pause with purpose, your words become music. Section 3. What a strategic pause can do. Let's break it down. Here's what a well-timed pause can do in real life. 1. Build suspense and attention. There's one thing that changed the way I communicate forever. That pause. It builds curiosity. It makes the listener lean in. 2. Gives weight to your words. We're not just launching a product. Pause. We're setting a new standard. That beat between sentences. That's where the gravity lives. 3. Signals confidence. Confident speakers don't rush. They let the silence work for them. They don't need to fill space to prove authority. A pause says, "I'm comfortable here. I'm not afraid to wait." That's confidence without noise. 4. Creates space for thinking. Pausing gives your audience a second to process what you said, and it gives you time to think clearly before responding. Instead of rushing into the next point, let them feel the one you just made. 5. Interrupts nervous patterns. When you're nervous, your natural instinct is to fill the air. But pausing breaks that cycle. It grounds you. It resets your breath. It restores your control. The moment you pause is the moment you get your power back. Section 4. When to use a strategic pause. Here are a few moments where pausing can completely elevate your message. After a key statement. This is what's going to change everything. Pause. Simplicity. Before delivering a strong opinion. Pause. Here's what I believe. That moment of silence draws all attention to what comes next. When responding to emotion, don't rush to fix, explain, or defend. Pause. Let the emotion settle. Then speak with empathy, not reactivity. In negotiations or high-stakes conversations, after you make your point, stop talking. Let them respond. Don't fill the gap. In sales, leadership, and relationships, silence often reveals more than words. Section 5. How to practice the strategic pause. This is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows with use. Here's how to train it. 1. Practice speaking slower. Record yourself talking about something for 60 seconds. Now do it again slower. Add intentional pauses after key points. Feel how much stronger your words become. 2. Use pauses in everyday conversation. Try this today. When someone asks you a question, pause 4 seconds before answering. Let the silence settle. Then respond. You'll instantly feel more in control, and so will they. 3. Mark your scripts or notes with pauses. If you give presentations, speeches, or record content, literally mark your notes with pause, beat. Let this land. Visual reminders help you build timing into your delivery. 4. Replace filler words with pauses. Next time you feel the urge to say like, or just pause instead. Silence greater than fillers, every time. Section 6. Examples of great speakers who use the pause. If you want a masterclass in strategic silence, watch Barack Obama. His pacing and pauses are surgical. Brené Brown. She lets her words breathe and they hit harder because of it. Simon Sinek. He doesn't rush, he leads his audience with calm, intentional rhythm. These speakers don't fear silence. They use it. And so can you. Here's the truth. Words are powerful, but timing is everything. A well-placed pause creates tension, emotion, and memory. It shows confidence. It deepens trust. And it turns your speech into something that actually lands. So pause. Let the silence speak with you. Because when you learn to master the space between your words finally start to matter. If this chapter helped you rethink the way you speak, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. In the next chapter, we're stepping into a big one: how to speak like a leader even if you're not in charge. We'll talk about presence, authority, and influence, and how to communicate like the person people naturally turn to. Chapter 13. How to speak like a leader. Here's a question. Have you ever met someone who wasn't technically in charge, but everyone still looked to them for guidance? They weren't the loudest. They didn't force their opinion. They didn't chase attention. And yet they carried authority. Their presence spoke before their mouth did. And when they finally said something, everyone listened. That's leadership. And it has nothing to do with your job title. In this chapter, we're unpacking how to speak like a leader. Even if you're not the boss, the loudest in the room, or the person with the final say. Let's get into it. Section 1. Leadership begins with presence. You can't speak like a leader if you don't first show up like one. Before a leader ever opens their mouth, people already feel something in their presence. That presence comes from clarity, calm, confidence, conviction. It doesn't matter if you're an introvert or extrovert. If you walk into a room with grounded energy, you're already halfway there. Because leadership is not about being in charge. It's about being in alignment. Section 2. Why people trust leaders who speak less. Think about the best leaders you've encountered. Chances are, they didn't talk just to talk. They listened. They observed. They spoke only when it mattered. And when they did speak, it felt like a signal, not background noise. Here's why. They don't seek attention. They speak when value needs to be added. They don't speak from ego. They speak from clarity and care. They don't talk to dominate. They talk to align, direct, and connect. Leadership language is efficient, purposeful, and strong even when it's brief. Section 3. Leadership communication habits to practice. So, how do you actually start speaking like a leader? Here are the habits to develop. 1. Lead with intent, not emotion. Leaders don't react, they respond. Before speaking, they ask, what's the purpose of this message? What impact do I want to create? What does this moment actually need? They pause before they speak. And when they speak, it feels necessary. 2. Use clear, declarative language. Leadership language sounds like, here's what we're doing. This isn't working. Let's course correct. This matters because. Not. Maybe we should consider. I think it could be a good idea if. I'm not sure, but. The more certain your language, the more confident people feel following you. Even if you don't know all the answers, own what you do know. 3. Speak in vision, not just details. Leaders communicate the why, not just the what. We're not just launching a product, we're solving a real problem for real people. We're not just fixing a mistake, we're raising our standard. They give people something bigger to align with. That's how movements start. That's how loyalty grows. 4. Don't fill the air, own the silence. Leaders are comfortable with silence. They don't rush to speak. They don't panic when others are quiet. They know that presence carries more weight than noise. Let your pauses lead the room. Let people lean into the silence. That's leadership. 5. Speak to empower, not impress. Leadership isn't about sounding smart. It's about making others feel smart, strong, and capable. Ask questions. Invite ideas. Listen generously. Reflect back what you've heard. People will follow someone who makes them feel seen, not outsmarted. Section 4. Communicating in high-stakes moments. Great leaders know how to show up when pressure is high. Here's how to speak when the stakes are real. When you need to de-escalate, lower your tone. Use fewer words. Validate emotion. Then offer a clear next step. I can see this is frustrating. Let's take a breath, reset, and look at what we can control. When you need to inspire, don't overscript it. Speak from the heart. Keep it short, simple, and emotional. This is hard, but we're not here because it's easy, we're here because it matters. When you need to set a boundary, be direct, be calm, don't over-explain. That's not acceptable behavior on this team. That's outside our scope, let's stay focused. I won't tolerate disrespect, we're better than that. Clear boundaries build respect. Muddled ones create confusion. Section 5. Inner alignment equals outer authority. Want to know the real secret to speaking like a leader? It's not language. It's not volume. It's not charisma. It's alignment. The best leaders speak with conviction because they are aligned. With their values. With their purpose. With their integrity. With the moment. You can't fake that energy. And when you have it, people feel it. You don't need to convince them. They just know. That's what makes someone easy to follow. Section 6. Final tips for speaking like a leader. Let's bring it home with a few rapid-fire tips. Eliminate filler words, every like, and dilutes your power. Speak in short, sharp sentences. Clarity builds confidence. Stay calm under pressure. Your tone becomes the tone of the room. Don't chase approval. Speak to lead, not to be liked. Make every word carry weight. If it doesn't move the message forward, cut it. You don't have to speak often, but when you do, make it count. Here's the truth. Leadership isn't about your title, it's about your tone. It's about your timing. It's about your intention. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to be the boss to speak with authority. You just need to show up with presence, clarity, and purpose. Speak like someone people can trust. Speak like someone people want to follow. Speak like a leader. Chapter 14: Avoiding Common Communication Pitfalls. You've made it this far. You're speaking with more intention, listening more actively, and using fewer words to say way more. But even with all that growth, there's something else we need to talk about. Bad habits. We all have them. They sneak into our speech without us even realizing. A filler word here. A defensive tone there. Over-explaining when we're unsure. Rambling when we're nervous. And the worst part? Sometimes it's these little things, not your message, that make people tune out, lose trust, or misunderstand you. In this chapter, we're cleaning house. Let's break down the most common communication pitfalls and, more importantly, how to fix them. Let's jump in. Section 1, Pitfall Number 1, the filler word spiral. We all do it. Like. You know? Basically. I think maybe. Sort of. Filler words are verbal crutches. We use them to fill space, manage nerves, or give our brain time to catch up. But here's the problem. They weaken your message. Every time you say instead of pausing, your credibility dips just a little. Fix it. Replace fillers with a pause. Practice speaking slowly and deliberately. Record yourself speaking and count your filler words. Try replacing them with confident lead-ins like, "Here's what I think." Let's simplify this. To be clear, cutting filler words is like sharpening a knife. Same message, cleaner, stronger, more effective. Section 2, Pitfall Number 2, the over-explainer. You've made your point, but then you say it again, and again, and just in case they didn't get it, one more time. This is over-explaining, and it usually comes from insecurity, the fear of being misunderstood. But here's the twist. The more you explain, the less they retain. Fix it. Say your point clearly, then stop. Let your silence signal confidence. If they need more info, they'll ask. Use this check-in phrase. Does that make sense, or should I clarify? Over-explaining doesn't help them, it protects you. Trust your words, then trust your listener. Section 3, Pitfall Number 3, the qualifier creep. You're confident about something, but you say, "I could be wrong, but..." This might sound stupid. Just my 2 cents. I'm not an expert, but... These qualifiers are language habits designed to soften the blow, protect your ego, or avoid criticism. But they don't soften the blow, they soften your authority. Fix it. Drop the disclaimers. Say what you mean without apology. If you don't know something, be honest, but don't undermine what you do know. Replace. I think this is probably a decent idea. With, "Here's my idea, let me know your thoughts." Big difference, big impact. Section 4, Pitfall Number 4, the interrupter. Ever catch yourself cutting someone off mid-sentence? Maybe you were excited. Maybe you were rushing. Maybe you just wanted to jump in. But every interruption sends one of 3 messages. I'm not really listening. What I have to say is more important. I need to be heard now. Fix it. Practice active listening. Let people finish, even if you're ready to reply. Use breathing techniques to stay grounded during their speaking time. If you accidentally interrupt, quickly reset with, "Sorry, please finish that thought." Leadership isn't about being heard first. It's about making space for others to speak, then responding with power. Section 5, Pitfall number 5, Defensive Speaking. You're in a discussion, someone challenges your point, and suddenly you find yourself over-justifying, blaming, getting louder, getting personal. That's defensiveness, and it shuts communication down. Fix it. Learn to receive feedback without reacting. Ask, "Can you say more about that? Help me understand where you're coming from." Use body language that stays open, not crossed, tense, or rigid. Remind yourself disagreement doesn't equal disrespect. Defensive communication builds walls. Curiosity builds trust. Section 6, Pitfall number 6, The Rusher. When you're nervous, your speech speeds up. Your sentences run together. You finish people's thoughts. And before anyone else even processes the first thing, you're already 3 points ahead. This is rushed communication, and it buries your message. Fix it. Breathe. Slow down. Build in pauses. Let your words land. Practice saying less with more weight. Rushing feels powerful, but clarity always wins. Section 7, Pitfall number 7, Talking to fill the space. This is one of the most common and quietest traps of all. You're in a meeting. A conversation stalls. You get uncomfortable. And so, you talk. Even if you have nothing to say. That's filler talking, and it dilutes your presence. Fix it. Get comfortable with silence. Only speak when you have value to add. Use phrases like, "Let me think about that. I don't have anything to add right now. I'd like to hear from others first." Silence doesn't hurt your authority. Wasting words does. Section 8, Pitfall number 8, Trying to sound smart. You're using 5-syllable words, referencing obscure concepts, quoting authors no one's read, trying hard to impress. The problem: trying to sound smart often comes across as insecure. Fix it. Prioritize clarity over complexity. Speak in plain language even when you're speaking to experts. Remember, people don't remember how smart you sounded. They remember how clearly you explained it. Smart is simple. Simple is powerful. Closing message. Here's the deal. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to over-polish your words. But you do need to be aware of what's holding your voice back. And most of the time, it's not your vocabulary. It's not your knowledge. It's not your experience. It's the subtle habits, the sneaky pitfalls, the unspoken insecurities. But once you see them, you can fix them. One sentence at a time. Because when your speech is clean, confident, and intentional, people notice, people listen, people remember. Next up is the final chapter where we tie it all together and explore how speaking less can transform your relationships. Chapter 15, Speak Less, Connect More, Transforming Your Relationships. Let's bring it all home. Throughout this series, we've explored how to speak with more clarity, intention, and impact. But this final chapter, this one's different. Because this one is about the moments that matter most. Not the big speeches. Not the presentations, not the interviews, but the quiet conversations, the hard truths, the little moments between you and the people you care about most. In this final chapter, we're talking about how saying less doesn't just make you a better communicator. It makes you a better partner, a better friend, a better leader, a better human being. Let's close this journey with the most important lesson of all. Speak less, connect more. Section 1, The Cost of Over-Speaking in Relationships. Let's be honest. We often talk too much in our personal relationships. We interrupt, defend ourselves, over-explain, jump to conclusions, talk to avoid silence, talk to avoid feeling. But here's the thing. Talking more doesn't always lead to understanding. Sometimes it pushes people away. Because when you flood the space with words, you leave no room for the other person to be. Section 2, The Gift of Listening in Relationships. In close relationships, the most powerful thing you can offer is presence. That means listening without fixing, hearing without judging, sitting with someone's emotions without rushing to fill the silence. Sometimes your partner doesn't need a speech. They need your stillness, your nod, your steady hand, your "I'm here." Silence, when filled with attention, is one of the greatest acts of love. Section 3. How to speak less and mean more with the people you love. Let's talk practical. Here's how to bring everything we've covered into your everyday relationships. 1. Be slow to respond. When emotions run high, pause. Let the person finish. Let the moment breathe. Then speak, not to be right, but to connect. "I hear you. Thank you for saying that. Let me think about how I want to respond." 2. Don't fill every silence. Silence isn't awkward. It's space. It's processing. It's depth. In a relationship, silence can be sacred. Be the one who respects it. 3. Speak in simple truths. You don't need poetic speeches. You don't need the perfect line. You just need to speak from the heart with fewer, truer words. "I'm here for you. That hurt me. I love you. I'm listening. I'm trying." That's connection. 4. Use questions, not statements. Instead of telling people how they feel, ask, "What do you need from me right now? How did that land for you? What's going on under the surface?" Curiosity connects. Assumptions divide. 5. Own your words, then let them go. Say what you mean. Say it with love, and then stop talking. Let your words do their job. You don't need to over-defend. You don't need to rephrase 100 ways. When you speak with integrity, trust your words. Section 4. When you speak less, something beautiful happens. Let's zoom out. When you start practicing intentional communication in your closest relationships, here's what happens. Fewer arguments. More understanding. Less confusion. More emotional safety. Less noise. More love. Because people don't just want your words. They want your presence, your attention, your respect, your calm, your space, your stillness. And when you speak less, listen more and let your words carry truth instead of volume. You give them all of that. This isn't just about communication. It's about connection. And if you take anything from this series, let it be this. Say less, mean more. Listen deeply, love quietly. Let your presence speak before your mouth ever does. Because the strongest relationships aren't built on the most words. They're built on the most honest ones. If this series helped you think differently, if it helped you speak more clearly, if it helped you connect more deeply, then this is just the beginning. Hit that subscribe button. Like the video if it helped you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what was your biggest takeaway from this journey? And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss future videos like this one. You've done the work, you've stayed with it. Now go speak with intention. Lead with presence. And connect with impact. This has been the power of saying less. Learn to speak with impact. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you in the next chapter of whatever you create next.